Perfect. Okay, so we started recording. Okay, so the class for today, it's going to be on how to create a CMA, how to price correctly. And there's a couple of things that I want to show you guys of how to do it and how to do it well, and it's an easy way. I think a lot of people overcomplicate when they run a CMA. So there's two really, really simple ways to do a CMA, and there's a couple of things that I usually use to help out with creating it. So one of the first tools, and it's a free tool, it's called NAR RPR. And then when you sign up for this, it's a free account. You sign up with your logins and you connect this to your MLS. Then you can go to reports. And in reports, for example, I can go and, hold on, this is new. See here, you have seller's report or property report. So I can go to a seller's report, for example, and this is what it's going to give me. It's going to give me property values, listing price, estimated value change, comps, and things like that. It's a really easy report. It actually looks pretty good. Let's put an address in here so I can actually run you guys through the process. And let's see, there's a house on the market right now that I was looking at in River Edge. Let's take that as an example, just because I know there's a lot of activity there going on right now. So for example, you put in here, you found the address. There it is. And when you create the report, it's going to create it for this address and that neighborhood. You can put in any report that you want, and you can add stuff here. And then I run the report. It'll pop up in a second, and I'll show you what that looks like as it pops up. My approach to pricing is two-way. I'll usually run some sort of automatic CMA like this, or cloud CMA, which is another tool we can use. I just find that this one, it's an easier one to run. So when I do this report, the bell will go off and it'll show me that the report is ready, and here's my reports, and they last here for 30 days. When I look at everything like this, I'll show you when this is done. The other way, and I do both, right? I will double check and I will go in and look at the MLS. And when I look at the MLS, I utilize something that's called the 5-5-5 method. And it's pretty simple. I look at 5 actives, I look at 5 solds, and I look at 5 under contract, or as close to those 5 as I can get. I know there's lots of classes and people do it very, very detailed with lots of numbers and lots of data. Pricing a house is an art form with some science in it. It's not all science. You're not an appraisal. What you're doing is you're trying to figure out at what point this will sell. What is the best price point for me to sell this home and price it correctly, right? You're trying to gauge the market more than anything else. So you get that sound, that's the report being generated. I'll show you what that looks like. If you guys can see right here, it generated a 59-page report, which is amazing. When you're doing a presentation, you can get a CMA that's 59 pages. All your information goes up in the front. It shows where it is on the map. Now this house is listed right now. This is the listing price of what it listed for. But if it wasn't listed, it would give you current estimated price. So its current estimated price is $430 or $432, $260. And you're not going to price at $432, right? After you get this, I'll show you a couple of things that you need to do. Here's the home facts. It pulls everything from the public service data, right? So whether it's the MLS or tax records or whatever that might be. Here's what this house looks like on a map from satellite. Here's the property photos right now because it's listed. Here's some historical photos of what it looks like. Oh, great. Thank you, Melinda. Okay, you know what? Let me, thank you for letting me know. Let me share my screen so you know exactly what I'm talking about. And all right, technical difficulties. Okay. Okay, can you guys see the screen now? Perfect. Okay. Um, Great. Let me just move this out of the way a little bit and put it here. So the website that I was talking about before is RPR, NAR, RPR. And when you log into NAR, it looks like this. And then I go to reports. And in reports, I select the seller's report and I type in the address that I want to do a report for the property that I'm going to list. It takes about a minute or so, and then it gives you a bell, like a doorbell, and it pulls the report right in here. It's called seller's report. And if you click on it, it opens up this. And I was saying before, this is 59 pages. It's a very comprehensive report, which is great to bring with you for a listing presentation. And all your information is here, so you can actually bind this nicely. This is the map. Now this house is oh, hold on, chat. Let me just check that nobody else. Do I recommend this for buyers as well? Yeah, it's not bad actually to give you an idea of what the house is worth. You can pull this up and then you can run some other reports with it as well. So yeah, you can use this for buyers too. But this is what it estimates the house to be worth. Now again, I think this is a lot better than the Zillow's estimate, but it's still not perfect in a way that you need to do it. From a personal standpoint, I once ran a report like this and it showed me a value of 500 something thousand. I went to the listing presentation. Apparently that house was knocked down and it was a multi-million-dollar home that was put in its place. So I had to leave my report in the car and then basically wing the presentation. I know the market's well enough that I can do it, but it's not ideal, right? Because my listing presentation doesn't have a CMA. The CMA is kind of extra. So let me run through this quickly and then we'll go through some questions as well. It gives you current estimated value. It'll pull it, if it's on the MLS, it'll pull data from the MLS. Otherwise, it'll pull from historicals. This is the house, what it looks like from satellite. You have lot dimensions and everything else. This is property photos right now from the MLS. So they're gonna knock it down or whatever they're doing with it. This is what the house looks like. Historical photo from the MLS, probably maybe this winter or prior winters when it was trying to sell. It'll pull up the photo. This is history of the house. This at some point was probably when they were building it or wanted to build and it was valued very high and then they never end up building it. So whatever this spike is, it seems a little unusual, but at least I can see this is the zip codes. This is Bergen County and New Jersey price valuation, right? So we can see from 2009-10 steadily climbing. Assessor's value goes right here. It gives you some information from that. Sales histories and things like that are all in here. Owner information that gives you a lot of detail. Anytime there's a refi or new mortgage, it will show you in this chart. Now it's active, that's the price point on it. What I like about this report, it will show you market activity, color coded, what's going on. It'll show you median listing price in this neighborhood. It's up 10%. Median estimated home value at 527. Days on market, on average, you're looking at 67 and it's been increasing. So in times like this with the shifting market, days on market will really be off. A lot of these data are going to be skewy, so you have to kind of adjust for the market. What I like in this reports are, I'll show you a couple of things that are important. You can look at median prices and the health of the marketplace. Overall, it gives me the idea for the town. Listing volume, it shows me how many homes are in the market and how cyclical it is. And it's really interesting. Look, spring market, spring market, spring market, and then we don't really have one right now where the expectation was this. So we might shift and have this in June, or because of Corona and everything else, we might just stay at this marketplace. Listing inventory, right now we have 23 homes on the market and there's 2 condos in there. It's not really a condo market, it's really single family houses. Price per bedroom, you have some data here. This is great for presentation, not necessarily exact pricing strategy, right? But when you're talking to your sellers, this shows you as very, very competent and researched, and shows that you spend time putting all of this together. They don't know how it's done, but you know what I mean? Like, guys, this is a lot of this is presentation. Look, select recent market activity, right? For this neighborhood, you can see some distressed homes in red. These are short sales or foreclosures. You can have not a lot of pendings yet. For sales, pendings are dark blue. So this one is pending, so it's probably under contract. Lots of blues that are for sale. And here you have a bunch of recent sales as well. You also have some off-market properties. Those could be FSBOs or what have you. So there's one right here that you can actually scroll through and find it in the seller's report and compare it to. This is the comp report. So it pulls up similar homes and it starts showing you, right? Bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms. Bathrooms, about the same number of bathrooms. And you can see how these homes compare and price points and what have you. Like, this is going to be a slightly larger home, so it's worth more. But you can see a lot of other homes that are going to be compatible to this and how to price them. So it gives you a bunch of different reports. There's another one right here on Lakeview, 485 on a high side. So whatever the price for this home, I mean, they're pricing it really low. So it's probably older and more beat up. You can kind of run through this. There's a lot of demographic information that I like from these reports that you can get. If you go back to the NPR, you can do the property report. You can do the market activity report. Neighborhood report is really good. And all you have to do is basically click on neighborhood report, run it, and see what it comes out. See, it tells me I'm number 25 in line. It'll take 4 minutes to pull this report together. When it's done, it'll give you a signal and it'll show you. So now let's jump on the MLS. So what I was saying before with the MLS itself, what I use to price homes on top of the RPR is something that is called the 555. I'm looking for 5 active, 5 sold, and 5 under contract. And I want them recently, and I want as close as I can to 5. You know, if I only have 1 property, I got to go longer out. And it's simple to search. So I go to search, property search. And this was a 3-bedroom, right? 3 bedrooms are funky because 3 to 4 bedrooms, I put them in the same category. I'll just upmark a little bit on the 4-bedroom. Because when people are looking for this size of a house, they go anywhere between 3 and 4 bedrooms. So we have that in bedrooms. Let me put the town in place. And we were looking at River Edge right here, Bergen, okay. Now, I'm looking at status. And if you go to this detailed report, what you guys can see right in here, I'm looking at actives. I'm looking at under contract. And I'm also looking at what has sold. And let's go to the last 3 months. See what activity. And right now, it might be a little bit skewy, but let's look at the last 3 months. Okay, and now I have my count. There's 46. So there's a lot of activities in this town. That's why I picked this for to showcase. It's a little bit time consuming, but you know what? You're going to prepare for a house that you can make about 10 grand on. Spend the time and do this properly so you understand the market. If you're going into the markets that you guys are farming, that you guys are circle prospecting in, doing this repeatedly will get you very familiar with the marketplace, and you'll have a feel for the market and where the prices are, because you're going to know this market really well. You know, if you're going in first time, it's going to take you longer to prep this report. So here's what we're looking at. Here's River Edge, 3 to 4 bedrooms. And we have a range from 390 at the low end to 900 on the high end. These are newer constructions right here. I actually know these properties. So let's stay away from there. Let's look at anything in the 400s and down to 3s. I'll select a little more because I might be able to eliminate it. Well, press something and messed it up. Okay, here we go. Okay, so these are actives, and I picked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 active properties. 1 is going under contract, which is great. Let's see how that looks like under contract. Here we go. The same price point. What I like about RPR, very quickly it'll tell me where the range should be, and then I can pick some other houses and see how accurate we are and what adjustments need to be made. Okay, so now I have another 6 here under contract. We have 17 sold, so there's a lot to choose from. If you know the neighborhoods, you know, some towns get really, really divisive where you have like the East Hill or not. Like if you go to Englewood, you know, one part of town could be completely different from like the East Hill of Englewood, where it's priced significantly higher. You need to understand that. So you need to have some basic information on the neighborhood. And when you're evaluating, price things accordingly, right, to the neighborhood. But River Edge, there's really no differentials all that much on property. So I want to see what the low end ones right here are selling for and why. And I'm also going to pick a couple of solds on the higher point in the 4s to go through. What's interesting is it'll really give you an idea of where the market is, and you can track it, right? So now if we run the report, so this one is active, a little bit of a house, right? Not really a range. They call it a side hole colonial. Original listing price $490. It's dropped by $100,000. They really need to get out. I'm looking for things like, is this as is? Is this a short sale? This is a home path property. Here's a range. That's the one we were talking about. It's priced here. They just added actually pictures. As we were talking about, they added a bunch of pictures to the property. So here's another range on Kinderkermack. I know the Kinderkermack is a busier road, but they're asking for $450. Okay, so I know that I'm on a lower end of the market at $430, which is good. I can look through pictures. I can see if I really wanted to spend more time on this. I can see what condition the property is. Like this is a nicer kitchen. Whereas if I'm looking at, for example, this one, you know, it's an older kitchen, Formica cabinets, you know, older bathrooms and such. So I might see why this is priced a little higher. I can look through the back. Now this is a different layout of the house again, right? This is more of a colonial or a side hole again. And it starts to get priced higher. And here's another range at a nice property. And now here we have, it's $485. Okay, so we have a basis of where we are. Now we can skip through. Now this is under going into general review. Nice house, nice pictures. And guys, see how what pictures do to the property? How showcasing it correctly makes a big difference. This is professional stage, professional done photography. Looks like a completely renovated house. I'm not sure if this is virtual photography or not. I think it is, and it should say so if it is. But it's nicely done, right? It's a nice kitchen, looks like a nice kitchen, open layout. Somebody really spent the time and renovated it for a flip. Yes, it's a little bit more, but that's going on. That's going under review in the 400s. So is our house really just $70,000 or $80,000 worse than this, or is it more? So this will put, I think this house will put a lot of pressure on the lower end in the 400s. This is completely redesigned colonial. So that's something to consider, right? And then we're looking at, okay, this is selective. Let's jump to under contracts. Now this one is under contract. This is a split. I want to see what it looks like inside. Older home, needs complete renovation, right? But the kitchen and things like that is similar to the other range. And this is under 400,000. That's why it went under contract. This one, again, nicer house. It's a little bit bigger. It has a second floor, a little bit of a cape. Looking at pictures, older home, which is typical for the town, older kitchen, under contract, under 400,000. If I see a couple more under 400,000 like that, I think we have a pressure, and 430 is a little bit high on the market for that type of a house. I'm looking at this one. It's a little different layout, and it's a little bit busier road, and it's a bigger house, right? Because it's 2 stories, 425 under contract. We'll look at this range. That's the Valley. That was 212. This is 223. Under contract at 450. Let's see what it looks like inside. It looks like a better taken care of house from the outside, not really from the inside. So there is demand for these guys. Newer kitchen. Guys, I'm going through this fast because it really is. It just looking like this and comparing, the more of these you do, the better it's going to be. Bathroom probably hasn't been updated in a while, but still looks a little bit better than the subject property, right? And it has 2 full bathrooms. The other one has only 1. There's a deck, but this is literally 3 doors down from subject property. So they all look similar backgrounds and similar layouts of where they are. Lots of windows. So now this is under contract 450. Okay. More promising for where we are. But again, we're talking about somewhere between 400 and 425 for the other house. Another one on Oak, nice little cape with solar panels under contract. Looks a little more renovated inside, hardwood floors, not the carpets. You know, we're looking at what the kitchen looks like because that's the heart, granite, nicely updated. Okay. Let's see some things that are sold. Because some of the stuff might be, that's another range. We can look at that. Let's look at solds, and you can see it from here. Here, see where the sales price is. That's a different one. Now, this one's selling. That's probably knocked down 350. Here's another one on Holland, bigger house. This is a knockdown. Sold it to 350. It was asking 299, so it was bid up, multiple bids. Somebody's going to build on it. Here's another range that seems very similar. That's on a busy road. Again, multiple bids, sold at 376. So to me, this shows a lot of, and this is somebody from our office, I think that's our numbers. Let's see another one. Here's another one under priced. Look, original price under was just over 500, went down to 399. It's been on the market for almost half a year. And finally sold. Somebody bid it up from 399 up. Let's see if this was a short sale or not. Yeah, this is an REO, right? So they put it at 399 and then had the market take it higher and bid up. So it's ended up at 426, but it's a 4-bedroom, not a 3 and a 2.5 bath. Here's another one. This is closed at 429. It's a really nice street. Most likely this is going to be for a builder because it's a big lot, and I know there's a lot of stuff building out there. Right, and here's another one that's sold. These are bigger homes. I think that, so now that I'm going back, if I go back to my original property, which was this one, I think that 430 or whatever, 439 price point, it's actually on the high side. I wouldn't price it here. If I was pricing this home right now, I would price it much closer to 4.25 or lower, because at that price point, I like round numbers. I've always did. To me, pricing like 439 makes no sense. Same thing with people price like 407 or 409. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Price it at 400 and be done with it. Then you can get people on an upper 300s and a lower 400 and let it bid up, right? To me right now, if the market was still strong and it was still a seller's market, I would price this probably around 4.25. If somebody wants to get rid of it right now, given where the market is with the pandemic and stuff, I think this needs to be much lower to 400. And I think you're going to get a lot better attention, etc. I think if you price it at 400 or even like 399, if you wanted to, might get some multiple bids that'll bid it back up. Here's the interesting dynamic that I've been observing for the last couple of years in the marketplace. If you price it just on the lower end of that band, and here's the band, by the way, for you. When you go to the report, the NPR report, it gives you the band right here. Estimated price range, because they don't know what the house looks like inside. On the low end, you're looking at around 375, 376. On a high end, 480. This is not worth 480. It's a beat up house. But that low end of the range, you know what? If you price it at 399, you might actually get a lot of value. What I've been seeing is in houses like this, if you price on the lower end of the pricing range, you get a lot of people attention. And when more attention comes to you, what you're going to end up with is multiple bids, and they're going to drive the price point higher. If you price just over the band on the upper end, unless you're in a really strong seller's market where the market continues to expand, what tends to happen is if you jump over market, what you're going to end up with is chasing that market down because people are afraid to offend. So they're not offering you the discount price point, right? So if they're more than 10% over value, people are just not making offers. Statistically, the statistics for the market is, this is once you're on the marketplace, right? You're on the MLS and you're selling it. If you have been on the market for a week or two and no one is showing your house, you're 10% or higher overpriced and you need to decrease the price by 10%. If you're getting showings but no offers, you're somewhere between 5 and 10%. And because if you're within 5% of where the market should be, you'll start getting offers because that's reasonable negotiations. Anything over that, and people are afraid to make an offer not to offend you. It's something to consider when you guys are pricing. So this is how I look at the market and how I price based on the 555 report, right? We've looked at 5 similar price points of active, similar under contract, and similar solds. The more of this you do, the better understanding you'll have as to what to compare so it's appropriate and it priced accordingly. So let me stop sharing the screen. I'll jump back on the call and you guys can ask me questions. And Melina, I think you're the only one on here for now. Yeah, it is interesting. And the beauty of this is it's an art form, right? And there is no concrete science in pricing correctly. I think you need to understand positioning. I think you need to understand where the market is heading. So anytime I go in pricing a home, I'm going to do some statistical analysis on the market. I'm going to look at what has been selling, what has been in demand, what are days on market. Are they decreasing or increasing to get an understanding of where the market is? Are we in seller's market? Are we neutral? Are we going into a buyer's market? Because you have to price accordingly.
Right.
Right.
What about things like as a new agent?
Yeah.
Things like I have solar paneling on my roof, or we use this type of material in my kitchen, that type of thing, or look at the pavers that we've used in our driveway. How do I know?
And my kitchen is always better than everybody else because
Right.
my house is special.
Right.
Their house is always special. You know, solar panels, some people love them, some people hate them.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of hard to put, I know appraisals put value on it and stuff. Are there a lot of houses with solar panels in the neighborhood? Is solar panels in the trend or not? Right. I think solar panels, look, and it might be my opinion, but I've been doing this for a long time and I have a different tactic on using this stuff. I'm looking for opportunities to showcase this home as being amazing and both unique and fit for everybody. So if there's a great feature that I can highlight, awesome. It's going to help me sell the house. I doubt it, you know, that it's going to bring the value up $10,000.
Right.
Right. What am I saving every month? Are those panels rented or are they owned by somebody? Do I have a Tesla battery on it? You know, that might be something to talk about if there's a neighborhood and there's a trend around for greener energy. If I have old batteries on it and I don't know what the condition of the roof is underneath and there's a leak, is it helping me or hurting me? Right. So it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. With things like pavers and everything else, the same thing. Look, you have a great, beautiful paver driveway. Awesome. Some people will like it. Some people will not. I can make a case for it where it's going to help you sell, but I'm not going to increase your price base of it.
Yeah.
Even things like, okay, I have a pool. Awesome. Do a lot of people like pools? Right? I mean, if I have a client that likes pool, great. If I have a client that has little kids, they might be afraid of this house. So,
Right.
what kind of pool? Is it really going to hurt or help? And I think it's going to be a case by case basis. Before that, I want to know what the neighborhood is like. I want to know what the market is like. Are there a lot of neighborhood, a lot of houses with a pool? Is this standard for this town? Or is this something different and you're the only one?
Mm-hmm.
Is this an advantage here or not? Are houses with pools staying longer in this neighborhood on the market or not? Because I can look at days on market and statistically price out. Let me see everything that's sold in the last year with the pool. Are those days on market longer or shorter than the rest of the houses? That will give you an idea for the neighborhood, because some neighborhoods require a pool and it's needed, and some neighborhoods are kind of not. And it's an interesting thought process to look at because it's outside of the pricing CMA specifically. I'm looking at the
Right.
market. I want to know what the market trends are, and I want to be ahead of them.
When
Everybody
you
says that their kitchen is special,
right.
right? I don't think that putting in expensive kitchen, you'll ever get your money back.
Mm.
You're putting it for yourself because you really like it. You put Clive Christensen kitchen, for example, and in even in places like Ridgewood, where it's more prevalent to have higher end kitchens, I don't know if you're going to get and generate the same numbers for it, right? If I have a
Mm-hmm.
really good kitchen and an amazing kitchen, am I really going to get an extra $50,000 to $100,000 more for my
Yeah.
house? I doubt it.
Right.
Right? If I have an IKEA kitchen in like Upper Set of Rivers or Ridgewood and the multi-million-dollar homes, for example, we might have a problem,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if I have a good custom kitchen, the name brand will help me sell, but I don't know if it's going to increase the value of my overall home all that much over
And
somebody else.
even if you have an IKEA kitchen, but you have higher end appliances, do you think that matters?
Again, it depends for the neighborhood,
Right.
right? If I'm going to have a low end, I don't even know, I don't know, Canmore or something that's not stainless and the trend is stainless steel, that's going to hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I have Viking appliances or Wolf appliances, but my house is in the $500,000 range, can I really demand an extra $50,000 for it? Because
Right. Right.
right, you have to be within the band, right? If I'm in
Mm-hmm.
a
Right.
$3 million house, it's expected that I'm going to have a branded appliances, that everything is going to be upgraded and luxury, right? So if I'm coming in a lower end in that market, it's going to hurt. But if I have an ultra high end, right? If I have, there's some refrigerators there, I forgot the name, but it's a German name with all glass and everything else that you can see through. And they're like
Yeah.
$30,000-$40,000 refrigerator.
Yeah.
I don't think that I can increase the value of my house by $30,000,
Right.
but it's going to
Right.
be a great selling point that I have a ridiculously amazing kitchen. But it still has to be priced accordingly, right? It has to
Mm-hmm.
conform within the neighborhood.
Yeah. Now, when you shared just a minute ago, when you talked about if you're not getting showings, it's about
Yeah,
10% over.
percentages.
If you are getting showings but no offers, 5 to 10. Would you share that with someone at the listing presentation so they're already having that in mind, or would you,
Yes.
if that's yeah?
Yeah. So I always, when I go into a listing presentation, I have an idea of what my range will be, right? Because look, if a house is worth, let's say my exact number based on calculations and everything else, statistics, is 518,000, right? And $430 as an example.
Mm-hmm.
You position properties, right? How do people search online? Right? They search, and if
Zillow.
you're in the 400s, you're going to search from 4 to maybe 450 or 4 to 4 and a
Right.
quarter, right? Round numbers, people search by round numbers. Nobody's going to search by 4 to 419.
Right.
So
Right.
it might be worth then putting this on the market at, let's say 5, or if you're thinking it's worth 518, you might put it on at 5.25. It's a nice round number that's comforting to people. I don't know, it rolls off your tongue. So when people are thinking about it, if you're putting in fives or zeros, it's a negotiable number. If you're putting in like some, exact number, it's a negotiation tactic. I'm offering you 517, 450.
Right.
It's like it's a pattern interrupt, and you go, okay, well, maybe that
means something.
Means something, right? They calculated that's the second offer they're making. Okay, that's their final number. Because otherwise, it's all negotiation, right? So it might be worth to putting it on the market at 5.25. But I also have clients when I go in, I think it should be priced at 5.25, and they want 560. Now I'm going to convince them to go under 550 at least because of the positioning. And I'll tell them, look, let's put it at 550. But if we don't get any showings in a week, because the first week is going to be crucial to our campaign, we're dropping it 10%.
Yeah.
I have that conversation up front, and I sometimes even have price change signed and post dated.
That's good.
Right? Because I want to warn you, I want to give you the expectation. This is what I do. And the expectation is if we misprice the home, we're going to be chasing it lower and lower and lower and lower. Right? And it looks like a step ladder with the pricing. Right. You never catch up to the trend. You're always going to be slightly above the rest of the trend. And the longer you stay, the harder it is to sell.
And the more desperate you look.
Correct. Right? A house might be priced perfectly, but it only got there after 180 days on the market. What happens when the buyer look at it? They think, oh, something is wrong with it. And they want additional discount if they get to look at it at all. Your first 3 weeks on the market is crucial. And I do convince my sellers that if you go in on the lower end of the range, we'll attract more people and we might get a multiple bid situation going. Right? Again, I need to know the market. Is multiple bid current right now or not? There's still markets out there with multiple bids. And there are markets that have so much inventory right now that there are no multiple bids. Right? You have to know the market to position correctly. All of this work with pricing with the CMA gives you a range. It's an approximate number. And off of that, I'm still going to go into the house and see what renovations are and everything else. Because off of pictures, I might not be able to tell. I've seen multiple situations where, pictures, they forgot to include pictures of this beautiful finished basement or finished backyard that's going to drive this a little higher.
Right. Okay.
Practice makes this perfect. Right? But sellers need to understand that if we're not getting showings, it's a pricing, right? Because we're doing so much with KW, with all our systems. We're syndicating, we're doing professional photography and everything else. And for everybody who's going to watch this later on, you're part of an amazing company like Keller Williams. Don't butcher your brand by snapping bad pictures with your phone.
Right.
Invest a little bit in professional photography because the attention span for buyers is so short. I mean, even outside of this pandemic and everything else, the attention span right now for buyers online is about 9 seconds. Guys, goldfish is 12. Just so you have an understanding, statistical understanding, right? We have to capture people from the first image. That's why I talk about positioning more than exact pricing. I need to position where this is competitive. I need to position this property where I'm going to attract the most buyers for it. Because I know approximately where this can sell, and I know how to navigate the marketplace. That's why you hire a professional, right? That's why sellers hire us as agents, is to explain to them what positioning is. How can we market this house so it gets the best price value for the money, right? Because you can price it at 5.25 with bad pictures and nobody comes, and I can come in and put video and websites and attract so much clients and bottleneck the showings and sell it at 550. right? Because you get clients that maybe you have showings that back to back instead of spreading them out. There's lots of techniques and things that you can do to position and market the property correctly, not just pricing it. Pricing is just one of the strategies, but remember, it is a strategy.
Mm-hmm.
We have to understand the market. We have to understand the trends, where we're going, buyer seller territory, and things like that.
Okay.
Practice. One of the great things, and Hal talks about this a lot, what you guys should be doing right now, any new agent or anybody who wants to get better, look at any new listings that are going on the market today. Do a quick CMA on it and determine where you would price this and where it should sell. And watch it. If it's a neighborhood that you're going to dominate, right? Melinda, you're in Teaneck, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So look at everything that's coming up to the market that's new in Teaneck and do CMAs on it. Practice. What would you price it at? And then watch where it sells. Were you on the money? Were you over? Were you under? It'll give you great experience, right? Give yourself a little bit of a range because you don't know what these houses look like inside. But one of the exercises that I've done when I was new to the marketplace, and what we talk about a lot is for you to experience, and then you're going to see where the market is. Because if you think it's priced at 5.25, it should be priced, and they priced at 5.75, see where it ends up. Is it closer to where you thought it would be, or where the agent put it in? Because you can identify and actually see where the market takes you.
Right.
Again, you're learning over time. It's not something, immediate, but just as an experience point, it's a really great exercise to do.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. Any other questions?
No, that's really helpful. Having the two comparisons, the RPR and then doing the 555. It's great.
Yeah, I like taking two different territories and kind of combining and seeing how accurate they are and where we can edit from. I also think that within the KW, we're working on a lot of our own internal CMA tools and interactive price points with the sellers. So I think in another couple of months or a year, we'll see more and more technology helping us price the home and then position the home correctly.
Yeah.
Cool. So stay in touch with the technology, be engaged, and good luck on all your pricing.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.